Imagine this for a second. The worst has happened. Your security alarms are screaming, your data's on the line, and every single second counts. In the world of cybersecurity, a breach isn't really a question of if it's going to happen, but when. So the real question is, when it does, do you have a playbook?
Okay, let's just dive right into that moment. That critical alert flashes. It's confirmed there's an intruder in your systems. So what happens now? Do you panic? Do you just start yanking cables out of the wall? Or do you execute a calm, methodical plan that was designed for this exact moment? Seriously, what you do in those first few minutes can be the difference between a minor hiccup and an absolute catastrophe. And this is exactly where incident response, or IR for short, comes into play. Think of it like the emergency services for the digital world. It's not just about reacting on the fly. It's a formal, structured process for managing the entire lifecycle of a security incident. It's what separates fumbling around in the dark from executing a precise practice strategy to get back in control.
So what does this playbook actually look like? Well, most of the professional frameworks out there, like the one from NIST, break it down into a 6-step life cycle. And this isn't just some boring checklist. It's a full-on map that guides a security team from that first hint of trouble all the way through to making sure it doesn't happen again.
So here's our map, the 6 core phases. We start with preparation, then we move into identification and containment, followed by eradication and recovery. And finally, we close that loop with follow-up, or what a lot of people call lessons learned. Every single step is crucial, and each one builds on the last. Let's kick things off with what is, without a doubt, the most important phase of them all, preparation. I'm not kidding. Everything you do here before an attacker even shows up is going to dictate how successful the rest of your response will be. Good prep is the foundation for, well, everything else. And this slide just perfectly illustrates why. On one side, you've got the proactive approach. You've already built your fire station, you've trained your firefighters, you know where all the hydrants are. And on the other side, that's the reactive approach. The building is already on fire and you're just now trying to figure out how the hose works. Preparation is what separates a controlled response from absolute chaos.
So, what does preparation actually mean? It's so much more than just buying some software. We're talking about defining exactly who does what in a crisis, constantly analyzing threat data, and proactively hunting for your own weaknesses with things like penetration testing, where you literally hire ethical hackers to try and break your own defenses. It's a whole process.
Okay, so you've done all your preparation, but an attacker still managed to slip through. It happens. Now we move into the active response phases. This is the part where the team is hands-on fighting that digital fire in real time, and the clock is ticking. The first active step is identification. An alarm has gone off, but is it a real fire or just a drill? The goal here is to dig into the data, confirm that a genuine security incident is actually happening, and get a quick handle on its scope and how bad it is. To do this, responders look for what are called indicators of compromise, or IOCs. These are basically the digital breadcrumbs that attackers leave behind. Think of them like forensic evidence, a strange IP address from a country you never do business with, the signature of a known malicious file, or network traffic that just looks weird. These clues are what help you validate the threat. As soon as that threat is confirmed, the priority shifts immediately to damage control. The goal is simple: stop the bleeding. This phase, containment, is all about preventing the attack from spreading any further across the network. You have to isolate the problem before you can even dream of fixing it.
So how do you actually do that? Well, the tactics can range from really surgical to just pulling the plug on everything. And this is where the team has to make some really tough calls. Do you take a critical server offline, which could stop the business cold to guarantee the threat is isolated, or do you keep it running to try and gather more intelligence on the attacker? These choices could mean anything from disconnecting a single laptop to isolating an entire network segment.
Okay, with the incident contained, the team moves on to eradication. This is the deep clean, methodically removing every single trace of the attacker and their tools from the environment. Once you are absolutely certain the threat is gone, then you can start the recovery. And this isn't just flipping a switch. It's a careful process of safely restoring systems from clean backups, testing them, and then watching them like a hawk to make sure the attacker doesn't pop back up. And crucially, you have to fix how they got in the first place before you come back online. The systems are back online. Business is running again. So we're done, right? It's over? Oh, absolutely not. And this brings us to the final
It may be the most strategically important phase of all, the follow-up. This is where you turn a really bad day into a positive long-term win.
The goal of this follow-up phase is so simple but so powerful. Learn everything you possibly can from what just happened. What went right? What went wrong? How did the attacker get in? And how do we make absolutely sure that never happens again? This is all about baking that knowledge into the organization's DNA.
And those lessons, they translate directly into real-world improvements. This isn't just some report that's going to sit on a shelf and collect dust. As you can see, these findings are used to update company policies, to make internal processes better, to drive new technical training for the staff, and to tell management exactly where the next security investments need to go.
So, when you put this all together, what have you really built? Something way bigger than just a response plan. You've actually built organizational resilience. That's the ability to take a punch, recover quickly, and come back even stronger and smarter than you were before. Let's just do a quick recap of the entire journey. We start with preparation to build our readiness. Then we identify the threat and contain the spread. We eradicate the attacker and recover our operations. And finally, that super important follow-up phase where we learn and we get better. It's a complete repeating cycle of resilience.
See, at the end of the day, a mature incident response program isn't just about playing defense. It's a powerful feedback loop. It takes the painful experience of a breach and turns it into fuel, creating a stronger, smarter, and more resilient organization for the future.
And that really brings us to the final thought. It's one thing to have a plan written down in a document somewhere. It's another thing entirely to know for a fact that it works under pressure. So the question I want to leave you with is this: does your organization have a plan? And more importantly, when was the last time you actually tested it?